Okay, we'll call this meeting to order, the Dollar County Commissioners, rise for the purpose of leading. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our agenda item, WIN, request for keyless entry security system for the courthouse.
So what I did was we actually went in and stopped at Burdick's. The back door in our office is a key entry, and Mike has replaced it, I don't know how many times. It's been an ongoing thing, and so when I was in Burdick's, I asked him just what it would cost as a thing, but then talked to Mike about getting the exterior doors and stuff. And I don't know what else you had in there. You walked around with a guy. And do the whole thing. So my understanding is from this side is if there was an issue in the courthouse, you need to lock it down, you could hit a button and it'd lock down. And accountability wise is these things, instead of buying keys, you give them this and then they just hit the button or they just swipe it in front and the door opens and it logs whoever has what number fob that they're in the courthouse at what time. So, which doesn't seem really relevant, but right now, this district court just had their DVD and VCR stolen from the courtroom. So, where do you even start checking? So, when you have those things, for safety wise, and even keeping your property secure, you put something in like that, at least when they go into those areas or come into an area, they at least logs who they are and what time they were in. And then if you have an issue, you can go back and say, well, why were you there at 9 o'clock at night? So, because our dispatchers over there basically say, somebody comes in, whoever we need the employees, I need the keys, they sign it out and walk over. That's it. Whatever they do once they're inside is up to them. And so our dispatchers don't know left, right, or back on it. So I had Mike go through it. Yeah, I'll let you talk about it, but.
Yeah, I think you had, was it just the 2 doors in sheriff's, or was it 3?
Just one at the sheriff's office.
No, you had the back, you also had the back door
The
downstairs.
far back door. That's the only one.
No, you also had your entry door. Your entry door, your far back door going to the back room. Was the 2 doors in the sheriff's department.
The far back room?
Yeah, the one.
Oh, gosh,
you
yes.
said
The equipment room one.
Yeah, because you're turning the key the wrong direction.
Yeah. No, I wasn't turning the wrong direction. I forgot about that one. So, since everything, and I don't know if it applies to you guys here, but everything in our equipment room, it has to be locked all the time. And so, the problem is the locks just go out and then you can't get in there. And that's where all the mechanical stuff is at. So, fire alarms, lights, everything, all 97 miles of wire all go to that room. And so if there's an issue, you can't get into it, we have a problem. So I guess I did add on that one as well. But they said they'd do it cheaper if we did a kind of a global bid. It's the same system the school uses over there, but I didn't go through it, you did. So
Yeah, and I had every entry door in the courthouse, every, and then the extra door in the back of your room. And it came in $18,988. And then I called him today and asked him for just the 2 doors in the sheriff's department. And the hardware is $5K and to install it is another $2,000. So it's $7,000 for just the sheriff's department. But the hardware is the same, then you'd already have your infrastructure for the remainder other doors, because that's the smallest system you can sell for doing fobs. So you're looking at $5,000 no matter what for hardware. And then whatever for install. And they're they said about $2,000 for install. And then a fob is $6.80 each. So I don't know how many fobs you'd need. I kinda got sidetracked because I had run to somewhere to ask how many people would need fobs for. And you still have a key entry, then you'd have a fob above it. Or they're built into each other.
I think they're built into each other, aren't they?
But they still have to have a key, just in case
Just in case.
you lose power. But you
Oh.
shouldn't lose power over there because of
Generator.
generator.
Yeah. So, I don't know, I looked at it from the aspect of, one, just replacing locks, but, for the courthouse side, if we compass it in, that would be a safety or security issue for, if there was an issue, we had to lock the courthouse down, it'd be a hell of a lot easier to do it than try to run around and lock doors. And when you're at one door, somebody can come through the other door, where this is hit a button and go. But that was my thought. I did talk to Mike about it, see what he thought about it before we even went any farther. And so,
Well, I thought it was a good idea, but, yeah, it's hard to, 19,000's tough. But, I mean, that's your guys' ultimate decision on it. Security's always a good thing, like we talked about a little while ago today. But the unit itself, it's, you know, cause that's the smallest unit they got, cause we didn't require that many doors, it's still 5,000 for the unit. And then 2,000 for the install, and then it'd be $6 maybe cents for each fob.
And how many doors will that system cover? 5?
It'll cover all that we have. It'll cover all of our doors, that system would.
The smallest one will?
Yeah.
Oh.
So you can't just get a system for one door or 2 doors. This system is for like an 8-door system, or then it goes 16-door system, then it goes on, up and up. So that's how they work it. Yeah.
So if the unit is 5,000, and that's the same size, and the install is 2,000,
That's just for the 2 doors over there.
so where does the 19 come in?
Well, then you have all the doors over here.
And
They have
that's
to
12?
change, you have to change all the exit, the exit devices in the back end, they have to be changed, and the exit devices here, because they're different. The push bars are all different, everything. So they gotta change those out. They gotta change out some of the strikes. One has to have electric strike, I think actually that one's for over there.
of what?
The electric strike is for over for your
What's
outside
an
door.
electric strike?
It's a special lock thing, because you are far enough away with that one door compared to ours.
Oh, okay.
And then everybody has to have the reader, the door loop, wire and supplies, keynote, the cloud node, the cloud subscription, you gotta have all that. You have a yearly cloud subscription too, of $387.
For the whole
every year.
thing, or for each side?
Every year for the one unit, for that
Okay.
unit.
Sure.
Because it kinda goes to the clouds, that's how those fobs work. Not sure what the AL600 is. And the Securitron is another part of it you have to have. So the biggest thing you save on is, like right now, you got $1,000, one, there's 2, but I can see 3, 4, about $5,000 right there just in the courthouse alone. That makes about right, so 5, 10, yeah, it's pretty close. I can show you this too.
So if you got that system for just for the 2 doors, could you
Later,
come back later and then add the other doors on? You
Mhm.
don't have to add them all on right now?
no,
So in order to get the 2 doors, it's gonna cost us 7,000?
yep, that's what he told me, Dustin, and if you wanna talk to him, he said he'd be available on his cell phone. But yeah, he says 7,000 just for the 2 doors right now, and then you could always add on later to be for the rest of our doors. Cause it's compatible with, you know, it's made for 8 doors.
Well, you could have, well, yeah, I mean, the only other thing is, all your money's sitting in your office, so. Sure. I'm sorry.
You really don't have a clear understanding of how this works, do you? You truly do not.
So I don't know, I mean, it's no, it was an idea, and it's not, the world's not gonna come to an end. It's just, it was an idea to kind of make the courthouse a little safer place, but, and to make it where, I don't know what our locks cost, they're expensive as hell.
They're pretty pricey. Well, the jail lock is $1,000 for one lock, for the tumbler,
But
just for the tumbler alone.
but the back door we've replaced quite a few times.
I've replaced I replaced the lock once. And I've replaced the automatic door closer that somebody used to rip off the door. That was your guy that hurt his arm, whatever his name was. He'll pull his bicep or
Oh,
something.
Daryl?
Daryl, yeah. He used to go out mad and rip that thing off 4 or 5 times.
Testosterone.
I think this is a good idea, but I would like to see if a grant is out there. I would be almost 100% sure that we could get a grant for this. So I would say, let's put some time into looking for some funding other than our taxpayers.
You know, like I said, it's just, you know, you know, just with, and I guess that's at some point, you know, it's trying to figure out how to keep our employees safer. I mean, and our dispatch window is bulletproof, you know, and then you got everybody in the clerk and recorder's office, it's just a piece of tempered glass. And so, I know it's personable that way, but we have a few hotheads in the county that come in and cause issues, and, you know, I guess that's something, you know, I think at some point, we do have to have a conversation about how we make it a little safer environment for, without losing the personal side of how we do business, but,
Well, one thing that the door locks do, if somebody did come in here, how I understand it, is if somebody did come in here, you can shut the whole place down. And they can't get in or out, which is good,
yeah, well,
plus, or it could be a good thing or a bad thing.
but the nice thing is that we can still come through the courtroom to get in, so, and that's just, you know, I don't wanna have a situation, you know, and,
And I can also mess with people, I can lock and lock. People we don't like, we can just unlock the doors and
let them beat on it, and then when they walk away frustrated, go, "Bloop," there you
unlock
go.
it, yeah.
So, it was just an idea, it's just a, you know, like I said, it's not, the world will not end, you know, it's just one of our, in the midst of everything else that we do, we had an idea, so.
It's just a security, it's kinda like the school, how they lock the school down, nobody can leave.
Whatever, I'll leave this with you, and you guys can discuss and discuss and whatever else, and go from there, so. Does that work? Are you sure?
Always.
There's not a lot of confidence in your statement.
So what would you do with the old doors out here up front?
They'd still be the same doors.
They just get a different lock set on them?
Yep, we get new push bars, new lock sets. That's how it was described to me. Yeah, on the front main door and those 2 end doors. And also the doors in between.
Oh,
So if anybody really wanted in or out, they could bust the glass down.
That's the only way out, yeah. They'd have to bust the glass. So they have to be really,
the glass on the exterior doors is, I'd like to watch that. Because I think you can run into it fairly hard and it won't break. You could try Eric,
oh, there you go.
it's like Mikey.
He might try it.
Yeah. I'll give you $1 if you try to break that glass. With your
I
bag.
don't know, yeah, you have to be specific. of
Somebody
what
really
you
wants
say.
to do something, like steal these ATM
Yeah.
machines and stuff, you know, so I mean,
Well, yeah, anybody's determined to do what they
Yeah.
want, they're gonna get it
Yeah.
done, so,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
After the stuff I saw, some of the places I went in the last 2 weeks, oh, yeah. We're lucky, we don't have what they have.
Yeah. Yes.
I was amazed.
And on a side note, the oversight council meeting went very well yesterday. I did talk to Mike and Franklin about it, you know, all this morning, because none of us had our schedule right, but Representative Lynch and Senator McConnell had, and even, is it Representative Patelis, they were starting to inquire quite quite a bit into how things are working, and so there was really good conversations that occurred yesterday, and so hopefully this next legislative session, we're gonna maybe see some changes in how some of that stuff's done, but there's like a whole accolade of bills and everything else, but it went well, so I think kind of a little concerned about the Board of Crime Control, but, and help me out on this a little bit, but it almost sounded like, the burn grant money that's coming through sounds just like, kind of how the conversation, a lot of that's going to the data collection mechanisms for DOC.
Oh,
and I was,
if that's the case, there's some serious issues with that,
And-
legally,
yeah, and so,
yeah.
I'm not sure what all is there, but I looked at Brian, he sat next to me, and I'm like, why does it sound like the burn JAG money is funding the data collection process for DOC? He goes, it's exactly what it sounds like, and I'm like, that bothers me. And so, I don't know, I don't know what you're being told up there, I don't know if you've met your bureau chief from up there,
Yes.
Bowser, whatever.
Natalia.
She seems like a very nice person.
Mhm.
But she was talking about some JRT money and stuff like this. She went through a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, so I don't know. It was one of those. It might not be anything. Me and Brian might have misunderstood, but it was me, Brian, and Sheriff Linders, and we were all kind of going, that's got a kind of an odd feel to it, and we kind of got through some of the data collection stuff that they were doing with recidivism and stuff like that. But the whole county was the coalition of state governments and how they're playing into this justice reform and all that. There's been a lot of money being expended, and so, but it seemed like the one guy who was from IT was talking about all of his, all the new software stuff that they're doing, the upgrades to track certain things and this, that, what have you. But no one was really talking about where the money was coming from to pay for it, and I'm like, okay, now we have a bureau chief we have a new bureau chief where we never have before, the Board of Crime Control, and it seems like we're pulling and then the administrative, it just kind of sounds like the administrative fees are kind of getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're expanding the scope of it, and it concerned us because of grants. I mean, let's be honest, and the fact is we don't, when the board was that quasi-judicial type, I think is what it was described as, you guys had every component really filled in there, where now we don't know what's being done, and Marty Lambert said he thought it was very interesting that the director of DOC is also the chairman of the Oversight Council that is supposed to be overseeing what he does. So he has to be the chairman of that as well. So, it's an odd platform. They have one sheriff on there, the rest of them are mental health providers or legislators or probation parole type things. They don't want, Reg's comment yesterday to Marty Lambert was, we talked about your request to have a working group consisting of county attorneys, judges, chiefs of police, sheriffs, to look at how the effects of the Oversight Council and legislative components and everything. And Reg looked at Marty and said, well, we talked about it, and we didn't think that your group would produce anything that would benefit our council. And I thought Marty's head was gonna explode. And so, leans very towards that one dynamic, and they don't want any input from the justice side really in an aspect. And it got a little contentious, but at the end of the day, I think we made a lot of good headway, and like I said, Senator McConnell and Representative Lynch and Patelis were asking really good questions. And so, some of those things that they weren't talking about, we're like, this is our issue, and so we'll see how it goes, but it would be, like I said, that border control thing just did not sit well with us, and maybe we just interpreted it wrong, it's very possible, but, you know, when we start looking at, you know, we already know that there's always been that source of contention between drug task forces, enforcement versus treatment, and now that Oversight Council is really pushing the mental health treatment, the drug treatment, and now it's called a substance abuse disorder. We don't call it drug addiction anymore. So, everything's a disorder, but just a heads up, so,
I've got a little piece I'll share with you when we're adjourned,
so,
whenever that is.
so, it was good.
We got anything else to bring from the council?
I don't,
I'll make a motion, or accept the motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Motion made, second to adjourn, all in favor, aye.
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 Time
Oh, I didn't get
is
to vote on that.
1:23. You don't have a vote.